Hello everyone, it is Caitlin, and today we are doing a pre-event sewing cram, which is basically where I take all the things I want to do for a particular event and procrastinate until it's right up to the event, and then we get all the things done at once. Well, hello and welcome to my packing list. This has a list of all the things that I need to take to events. This one particularly is for the San Jacinto event in 2021. So I need to come up with some 1836 things. So I already wrote this out. I actually wrote it out last night, and I honestly believed that I was ready for 1830s events. I didn't think I really had to do much of anything for this particular event to make my wardrobe ready. I thought I had everything together. Then I wrote it out and realized that I have so much to do. And I only have 24 days, and it's 1836, so that means everything has to be hand sewn. So this is gonna be fun. Honestly, some of the stuff I don't have to have. It's more of a want, but I'm gonna get it done anyway because I feel like it. So first on the list, actually, let's not do the list first. Let's talk about my color coding system. So if it's in black, it means it doesn't need any work on it. If it's in green, it means I have all the stuff in my closet or whatever. I can actually do it right now. If it's red, it means I had to purchase something. And if it's yellow, it means that I have purchased the things that I need. They just haven't come in yet. And I need to wait for them to come in before I can actually do the project. So we're not going to do all the things in this video today. Some of them are going to get their own video. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. So first up on the list that we need to do is garters. So I actually have some Berlin wool work garters that I have sewn or embroidered their needlepoint. I've done them. Actually had them done for about a year now. I just haven't actually made up the garters. So first off, I need to dye some ribbon, and then we're going to need to attach that ribbon to the needlework and finish it off and do all that. So that should be a pretty simple project. Next on the list, we are going to make a petticoat, which we're not going to do in this video. That's going to be a whole another video. The rest of the petticoats just need to be starched. So I have potato starch on order. That is going to be a whole nother video of how to starch petticoats videos. We're not going to have to worry about that today. Yes, I am bringing my 1850s wrapper to an 1836 event because I don't plan on this actually being a wrapper that's going to be seen. I'm not going to be wearing this at the event. Its primary purpose is for me to mostly just drive up to the event end. The event's a couple hours away from where I live. I don't know, driving 3 hours in giant 1830s sleeves just does not seem safe. So I'm actually going to put on all my underpinnings, then put my 1850s wrapper over top, so I'm not just wearing my underwear everywhere, and then just get dressed when I get to the event. Probably borrow someone's tent. I'll already be in my underpinnings, so I might just, drop the wrapper and put on a dress. I mean, not like anyone's really going to see anything. And then I have my brown silk dress, which I think I might actually bring the cotton dress. I'm not entirely sure. Both of them actually need the same amount of work done, which is sewing in sleeve puffs and sewing in pocket slits. So we'll do that in this video. And next dress, I would like to make a new dress because if it is really warm, I would like to have a sheer dress. And I don't know, it's going to want to get that done and out of the way. So I will probably make a dress. That's going to get its own video though, so we won't be seeing that here. Jewelry box. Not that I need jewelry for the 1830s, but I portray a wealthy woman, so I think jewelry will be a good thing. So I do have some brooches. I need to check the closures on them because I'm not entirely. I think one is popped off, and I just need to glue it back on. And then some earrings, which I bought all this stuff I need. I just needed to come in so we can make that, and we'll probably do that in this video. I do need to make a watch pocket chain, or pocket watch chain. And of course, hair pieces and pelerines, all that's done. Strap on it's done. Pink parasol. I'm not entirely sure if this is going to make it into the video or not, but I am working on trying to reproduce from scratch parasols from the 1830s because you can't actually. There's no one who makes them, and using originals is fine for some time periods, but 1830s are so rare to find. I don't have any that are in poor enough condition that would feel comfortable recovering. So I'm trying to make my own. I have a few things that need to come in for that, but I think I finally figured it out. So we shall see if this works. And then some other things. I do need to put together a sewing basket for the 1830s. I have my sewing box, which I just need to, it says fix. I need to pull out some projects I have in there that don't belong in there and that sort of thing. I just have that's just on my to-do list. But we are going to make a sewing basket. That's probably what most of this video is going to be, is making the sewing basket a la the Workwoman's Guide. And I have lots and lots of projects I want to put in there. I'm thinking about doing, because I portray a very wealthy woman. So sometimes it's like, well, what am I supposed to do with myself if I'm A, not at home, but B, portraying someone really wealthy who wouldn't be doing manual labor? Like, how can I engage the public when I'm doing living history? And I've decided that fine embroidery and fine needlework is a good way to do that. I want a variety of needlework to kind of show the different types of needlework that could be done. So I'm going to start making some embroidered baby clothes. And so I got to find a pattern for that and that sort of thing. Maybe I actually might make a plain baby dress just so you can see kind of, oh, this is what this is going to look like. Haven't quite decided if that's going to happen or not. Probably not by this event, but it's on the wish list. I'm going to do the Berlin wool slippers, which I'm going to bring the finished 1860s one that we did on the channel. And I also am working on some 1840s ones that are being embroidered, so I'll bring that. I have a pattern that is for an 1820-ish sampler. Thought that'd be a really good project to kind of bring around. I'm going to do some silk embroidery pockets and some basically the same garters we're doing, but just in a different pattern. Of course, I need modern clothes because I don't really like driving home in all my crazy 1800s stuff. Driving up there in a corset is never a big deal, but afterwards, I kind of like to get out of it and drive home without a corset. Although this will be the first time I'm driving in my 1830s corset. The 1860s corset has never caused an issue. We're going to see how the 1830s one does. But that's essentially what we're doing. But yeah, most of this is probably going to be sewing box related. But let's go ahead and get started and work on some garters. We're going to dye the ribbons for the garters with grit dye. So I have black and yellow. I think I'm going to add a tiniest little bit of black dye. Okay, I'm going to make it slightly too much. We'll compensate with a lot more yellow. If it ends up too dark, I'm okay with it. So I'm going to let that just sit for a while until it kind of comes to a boil. Then we'll add our silk, which I already cut the silk out. I'm using 1.5 inch wide silk ribbon. But went ahead to cut them about 55 inches long, which is a little long, not too long. After looking at some originals, they kind of varied from the 20-inch range all the way up to like the 60-inch range. So it really feels like personal preference. I decided I wanted mine to start on the front of right below my knee, cross over to the back, cross back over to the front, and tie a bow in the front. So I wanted them extra long because they're going to go around my leg twice. The dye is heating up nicely, and I thought we'd go ahead and add the silk. Okay, that's not too bad. It's not like super black. Kind of like greenish right now though, which is fine because actually there's green in the embroidery too. So if it turns out green, I'm okay with that. We'll let this sit. I'll stir it around. I had to go get a stirring stick. Make sure it's all evenly distributed. I stick my fingers into a pot of almost boiling dye. That's typical for me. And we get to see what color it's going to turn out. It's like an experiment. So much fun. And here we are. So it definitely turned out green, which is interesting. But I think it looks okay with the actual embroidered garters, so I think we're going to leave it. So the next step is I'm going to pin the ribbon to this, and then we'll turn it inside out once we're done sewing it. So I need to find the center-ish of a garter. Alright, I'm going to sew probably a back stitch to make it secure, right where the embroidery starts, basically from this corner all the way down, and then do the other side as well. I'm going to leave these short ends open so that I can turn the garters inside out when I'm done sewing them. Alright, so all sewn together, we are pulling it out, which I'm just very carefully pulling a little bit at a time to turn it inside out so I have nice non-raw edges showing. And eventually we get to the end of the embroidery and I've got to pull out the rest of the ribbon. And I'm going to stitch that. I did a quick running stitch. I mean, it's super simple. So here's the other garter. already pressed, and you can see how much ironing just helps it so much. I think it looks really good. I think the green looks fine with the greens that are in there. It kind of looks like a mix between the browns and the greens that are kind of already in the embroidery. So I shall go iron the other garter, and we'll get started on a new project because project 1 is done. Alright, so jewelry stuff came in, so we can go ahead and work on that. It's really hard to date jewelry, so most of my stuff I based off of paintings, which can be hard to see detail. So like there's really no perfect way to do this. And for some reason I thought that when I bought 2 sets that I was buying 2 sets of 2 like I bought with these. So I have a lot of blue beads now. Might have to find something to do with them. I also found some black beads. I think we're going to do the same thing in black too. And I have a friend who does jewelry too, so I'm going to let her do some of the more difficult stuff, like the teardrops, see if she can do that for me. And I'll do the really easy stuff. But there's a couple places I buy beaded jewelry too, or have bought beaded jewelry. It's just one of the things that I can make myself, and so I feel like I should make myself because it's cheaper. You know, I don't particularly enjoy it. And most of these are really appropriate for Regency too, so I don't ever plan on doing Regency. I'm not a huge fan of the costumes, but at the same time, I was never a fan of the 1830s costumes either. Still kind of not. Although, to be completely honest, I don't think I can start another time period because I don't think I have room enough in my house to accommodate clothes for another time period. Does that mean I need a bigger house? Maybe not a bigger house. Maybe I need a smaller living area and more closets. New project, getting some belts done. So I have a length of silk here and some cotton Petersham ribbon. It says it's Petersham. It's really just like a canvas webbing type situation, but it's going to be very good belting. So what I found that works is I'm doing it selvage to selvage because my waist is just wide enough to where this selvage works. So what I did with the last one, because I did do a practice one, is I am not folding in the edges of the silk when it's on the selvage, but on the cut end I am folding in the edges. That way it doesn't ravel. I'm doing 2-inch wide webbing, and I cut a 5-inch strip of silk. That way it goes over the whole thing twice with a little bit extra to actually do the sewing bit. So I'm just going to fold over like this. There's a edge that I did fold under the raw edge. And that's kind of just what I'm doing, making sure it's really tight across the webbing. And on this very edge, I just kind of whipped that shut, kind of went back up, and I just whipped all the way across this end. So it's a really easy way to make a fabric belt. I'm doing it in black and in pink. Figured that gave me some good options. And once we reach that end, we're going to work our way back up to this point. So in case you're wondering where I am timeline-wise, I have officially 2 weeks before I need to be done with all these projects. So 14 days, and I still feel like I have a lot to do. But I am letting go, you know, just thinking in my brain, you know, if none of this gets done, it's not the end of the world because I have enough stuff. Like, I can easily make it. I did the important things like starching petticoats. Let's fix up some dresses. This is the printed cotton we made a couple of months ago. We need to put sleeve supports in it, and also make holes for the pockets. But I think we're going to do the pockets on this dress. I did the same things with the silk dress. I think just for video purposes and for making sure this isn't like a million years long, we're going to do the pockets on this dress and the sleeve supports on the other dress. So I'm going to really make sure that this is secure. Okay. And go just a little bit, you know, just in case something unravels. And just because that's a new seam and it's not one of these lay flat, I'm just going to fold it over and iron it down. I actually might fold it over twice to get rid of that raw edge, considering this is a cotton dress, and there's a possibility it might get washed eventually. So I have to finish this on this side,
do it on this side, and then I have a whole nother pocket slit I need to make on the other side of this gown. And now we're with the brown silk dress, putting in some sleeve puffs. So these are the caned ones. I don't know how well you'll see that on the camera, but they're caned ones. I did learn something really nice about the cane ones. Even though we put cane going this way as well on the sleeve puff, they collapse really well, and it's really easy to travel with, which, you know, is always a plus. So I'm just going to sew these in. I think we're just going to whip it in. They're just pinned in right now. They've been pinned in for a while. And so when I put them on or have fittings, it's just pins, which is fine. I mean, in reality, when you put the pins in really well, you don't feel them, they won't come out on you, so you don't have to worry about it. I just figured something a little bit more secure and permanent would be nice. But if you're looking for a sleeve support that really travels well, I would highly suggest the cane version. Just make sure you soak the cane first. I soaked my cane from parasols. I just didn't think to do it with this. But apparently it makes it more pliable and less likely to snap on you. So, which has been my only complaint with these so far, is I snapped a cane trying to put them into the arm's eye. Apparently that is easily remedied. So if you do those, would highly suggest that. So I gotta do this on the other sleeve and also in the cotton. And these will be done. And that's really all I had to do with the dresses. So that was super quick and easy. Alright, super quick and easy. We just need to attach a veil to a bonnet. We made the bonnet on the channel. I don't know if that video has come out yet. If it hasn't, here's my straw 1830s bonnet. It is lovely. It's one of my favorite bonnets I think I've made. And I only like 1830s bonnets. But we have made the veils on the, here comes the cat, sorry. But we have made the veil on the channel, so I will link that. Essentially, I'm just going to pin it in. And some of them appear to be attached here at the brim, and some of them appear to be attached here. We're attaching it here just because that looks easy. I'm going to gather this up. That's why there's a drawstring in it. I'm going to hide it underneath here. And do a figure 8 around the pin. I don't know if this is actually how it's done in the period, but this is what I do on my 1850s and 60s bonnets to kind of keep this extra long thread or ribbon out of the way. And it should be really easy to remove if I decide I didn't want the veil. And veils are basically the 19th century version of sunglasses. You wear it to keep the sun out of your eyes. They're not just for mourning. I was actually supposed to teach a class about bonnet veils at the Texas Living History Association conference this year, but then of course they had to cancel because of COVID. So I think next year I'll probably be doing it. There we go, all nice. I could also put a pin here and here if I wanted to kind of keep this gather from moving around, but I think we're good. So bonnet is ready to go. Next project, we're going to make a pocket watch chain, or really just attached a pre-made chain to a pocket watch. So this is a pocket watch I have been using. It's antique, it's not as old as the 1830s, it's a little bit bigger than I think it needs to be, and the design I believe is later, but it's what I use for right now because there are times where I need to keep time for something, and this is far less obtrusive than, there are times I need to keep time for whatever reason, the event I'm at or whatever I'm doing, I need to have time. Hello, kitty cat. And this is far less obtrusive than a modern phone or a wristwatch or anything else. So this is what I use. I am currently on the lookout for an 1830s pocket watch, a lady's pocket watch, that is still working. I have not yet found one that I have been able to win the auction. So it is on the to-do list. This is what I have for now. This is what works. This is the chain that I have. It's a little bit more gold than the watch is, but it'll be fine. So I wasn't sure how long to make the chain. You can look at portraiture and they are very long, which is why I'm making one, because I do actually have a pocket watch chain. It's just a very short one that I use from 1850s and 60s stuff. But clearly that was not going to work. after looking at portraiture. So yes, we have a very long chain. I did look in the Workwoman's Guide and it has directions for a knit. I did look in the Workwoman's Guide and it does have directions for a knitted watch chain, or watch guard as they called it. And they asked for it to be 1.5 yards in length. So that's what we're going to go with today. I'm just going to measure this out to about 1.5 yards. And I did pull the actual, from my actual pocket watch chain, I did pull the hook bit, I suppose. So we're going to just, this is a very easy project, hook that in there, find the other end, hook that on here, close it up, and attach the watch. Very simple, and I have a very long watch chain. So simple, but something that needed to be done, and now I have a working pocket watch. Now we're going to make a sewing basket. So I have the basket. It obviously is not covered in correct fabric, so we're going to take this off. I am currently dyeing some silk to fix this up, but I'm thinking I could probably use this as a pattern. Going back and forth on what color I wanted the basket, the silk. I thought green would look really good, so we're doing a green, and I'll go show you the dyeing fabric in just a moment. But yeah, basic basket. It is shaped the exact same way as the basket in the Workwoman's Guide was shaped, which is why I chose it. And it was big enough to actually fit the sewing box that we made earlier in here. So I'm going to take you to the kitchen to look at some fabric that is dyeing. And here it is. It is a moss green, so I don't know how well it's going to show up on camera. It's actually much prettier than it's showing up. But it's just about done. I used Dharma's Acid dyes in the moss green. And here's the fabric. Turned out lovely. Beautiful, beautiful color. It looks really good with the basket. So up here are the pieces from the basket that I've cut down to the right size. And this is what we're going to use as our pattern. I'm also going to need to cut one of muslin, because the Workwoman's Guide does say that we need to line it in muslin. And also I'm going to need to cut one of, it calls for flannel, I'm going to use batting instead. Sewing together all these little pieces. So this is the lining that I'm almost done with. I'm just using a running stitch. Here is the flannel, or in our case, batting. And remember, we didn't add any seam allowance to this, so I'm just whipping the edges together. Just the very, very edges. But at this point, I'm going to iron all these seams open, except for the batting, because there are no seams in the batting. And then I'm going to put them in, so muslin, then batting, then silk, and then we're going to quilt it all together. And the Workwoman's Guide shows like a diamondish pattern. I think I might do that. I am working on quilting this lovely thing. It's taken a while, but you know, it's quilting and it's all done by hand, so yeah, it's going to take a little bit. What I decided to do is, what I just decided to do, I've been working on this for a while, but what I just decided I was going to do is just do these little lines, and so on the sides there'll just be lines going up. I'm not going to do anything across because that's a lot of work. But of course, to go to this side, I'm going to need to do lines, which means this bottom part is going to be in squares, more or less. So basically what I did is I just folded this piece in half, and then I did a line straight down the middle. And then because these kind of come in at an angle, I did have to do a little bit of measuring, but basically there is 6 rows between the seam and the center one, and they kind of graduate up. So like the bottom part is about 3/4 of an inch wide, and then this is more like an inch up here. So it does kind of graduate itself up. But yeah, I'm working on this part over here, finishing this. So I just measured from the center one. I measured the very center of that one, and the very center, and the very center, and then I've kind of just been guesstimating the ones in the middle because it didn't seem worth it to really measure that one. but I'm just doing a running stitch. You very well could do diamonds, if that's basically what the Workwoman's Guide shows. That just A, seemed like a lot of work, and B, I kind of wanted the stitching line to match with these seams, so the seams looked like it's part of the stitching instead of just being, you know, out there. That was just personal preference. Here's a progress check-in. So it's almost completely done. There are the little squarey bits in there, and of course just the lines on either side. I'm on the very, very last little step. So after this, we get to actually put the thing together. Just like that. It's going to look lovely. I love this color with the basket color. And I haven't quite decided the best way to do this part. So I did make it quite a bit taller, just, you know, to make sure it was going to fit. And the Workman's Guide does suggest you can put pockets in it. I think their basket itself was a little bit smaller, and so they were actually using it as their actual sewing box, which is actually quite clever. But I already have a sewing box. Okay, I like how this is fitting, so we're going to start maybe like right here. And I think we're just going to do it just every once in a while, if I can get my needle through. It's a very thick needle. I might have to go back to normal needles. Here comes the kitty cat wanting to see what we're doing. She thought she was going to step into this, and then I think she decided against it, which was fairly wise on her part. I have a smaller basket too. We might make one that's about the actual size of the one that in the Workwoman's Guide, eventually. And that way I would actually have a traveling sewing box. We'd put the pockets in and everything. That way I wouldn't have to carry, you know, my nice sewing box around. Pleats are put in. I just did inch-wide box pleats, and so I'm going to attempt to figure out how they're going to go on this thing. And if I put the middle, oops, right where the fabric starts, and I could probably sew them to the fabric, which would be good. And hopefully I'll have enough ribbon to make some bows to decorate it. I should. There we go. I think that works really nicely. Alright, now I get to sew this on, which I don't imagine will be the easiest thing in the world. This isn't the most graceful thing in the world, but okay. Need to watch those stitches, how they look on the front. Okay. Yeah, I like how that's fitting. And it's going nicely over the whole, I guess, edge of the basket. So that looks really good. I'm going to go and tie this thread off. It's getting kind of tiny. And cut a new one. That might go a little bit further. Alright, last step, putting in bows. I didn't have a ton of ribbon left, so they're very small bows. I would have preferred bigger ones, but we're dealing with what we have, and so they are very, very tiny, but they still look cute, and they're going to hide the not quite right looking, you know, pieces. So, you know, it is what it is. I am going to sew them in just so they don't try to undo themselves. Oh, there's our cute little sewing basket. Isn't it adorable? I absolutely adore the colors. I think it turned out really, really well. Let's start filling. Give myself a variety of things to work on. Some of these, most of these I haven't started yet, so I'll do probably a few little bits to it. I still have a week left before the event, so not much else to do other than, you know, this and the parasol. So I figured go ahead and put it in the box for right now, but we'll probably have to get it out to work on it a little bit. So first of all, this is going to be a little baby dress with airsure work. So I have the pattern already So I had the pattern printed on it, so that can go in there. Also want to do some embroidery on glaze, so I'm working, this is actually an 1860 chemise, but there's a sleeve that is already done, so I can kind of show what that works look like. And then I actually have the yoke and the thread, so we'll put that in there. Probably put the thread in there for the Ayrshire work too. Berlin wool work, working on some 1840 slippers. So I'll pack those and some of the wool thread I've been using, or yarn. Well, it's crewel wool is what it is. I'm also going to pack a sampler, linen sampler, that its stuff has not come in yet, so I'm just going to leave the pattern in there for right now, just to remind myself to pack it. I also found an 1830s pattern for a beaded bag. That'd be kind of fun to work on, just to show some like beading. So I have the silk that's going to go on here. I haven't gotten the beads in yet, so that's going to have to wait a little bit. Probably will want an embroidery hoop. I'm going to put that in there. It's not a very correct one, but it's all I have. Some nice silk embroidered pockets. The silk thread has not come in yet. It comes in with the sampler stuff. So I'm just going to put that in there though. The pattern's already printed out on it, so we're good. And I got some more Berlin wool work. These are garters that I'm working on. So all the thread I need for that, the pattern to go to that. I feel like I'm missing something. But yeah, that's gonna, I think we're good. So there's all that. And our lovely sewing box. I'm just gonna sit that on top as the lid so that my stuff doesn't like fall out everywhere. There's our beautiful little box. And the cat coming out to check to see what we're doing. But yeah, that's going to be very lovely. It's actually not heavy at all. But it's going to be easy to go to the event, kind of have a space for my projects. I know there is space for the projects underneath this, in this thing, but it's not enough for all the projects, and I do want to show a variety of needlework. So this is how I'm going to carry it to the event. I'm going to have to take it back out again because I need to work on some of these. But yes, that is essentially this project. Let's move on to parasol. Alright, so slight change of plans. So the way I did the ribs, they are cracking underneath the pressure when I have it covered. So I only have a couple of days before the event. I already have a pink parasol. It's a little bit later, I mean by 2 or 3 years. But for one event, I think I'm going to go ahead and use that one parasol I have. So I will work on this probably within the next month because I know I have an event at the end of May. And I think this will be a great option for that event. So I'm going to put this up for right now. Know what I need to fix, but I'm very impressed with how far I've gotten with this. From going from nothing and not knowing how to do this at all to something that actually resembles a parasol. It's pretty impressive. I just need to really work on this edge. And now I'm starting to realize why all the original parasols have the little piece of metal here as well. That makes a lot of sense now. And so I'm going to go back to the drawing board, kind of reinforce that edge, and hopefully get a better system of attaching these two parts. So unfortunately no parasol, but we did lots of other good things today. So yeah, I'm actually still very proud of what we accomplished in just a very short amount of time. And so yeah, I think I'm going to put this to the side, and I will have another go with it next month. Alright, here we are. All the things we did. Yeah, we got a lot done, and we're still about 6 days away from the event. And yeah, like this doesn't look very much, but keep in mind there's also things I did for the event off camera or for other videos, like making that new dress and starting my petticoats. But as far as like getting all the little things done, this is quite a lot of handwork in just that little bit of time, and I'm very impressed with myself. So I am now ready for the event. I'm very excited. There's going to be a video about the event if I manage to get enough footage and pictures of it, but at the very least there'll be Instagram pictures. So very excited about that. we did a lot of things, and they're little things, like they wouldn't have made a video in and of themselves, but honestly, we got a lot done. I am a little bit disappointed the parasol didn't get done, but that's okay. We got plenty of other things done. I have a parasol I can use, and I think I know how to fix the rib problem with the parasols. I'm just going to wait till after this event and work on it then, so I can actually breathe for a minute prior to doing that. So for what I usually do, that's actually really, really good, particularly since it's all hand sewing. Like, I was pretty ambitious with what I wanted to do, and I feel pretty confident that we got a lot done. So I'm very impressed with that. I am ready. I'm excited. All I get to do now is pack and drive up there. So very excited about that. I know this wasn't a typical video that actually has a project and it was pretty, detailed on how to do it. But I do hope you enjoyed it regardless and enjoyed the look into my crazy system of keeping my projects together and what I need to get done in my color coding system. A little peek into my crazy brain. But thank you so much for joining me this week, and I will see you next Monday.